Years ago, I shot 10 bags of heroin every day. Heroin is a beast, and that beast has infiltrated every town and city in America. In 2016, 64,000 Americans died of an accidental overdose of opioids. I hope that the stories we bring you on this show save lives in 2018. I'm Richie Farrell. I'm a heroin addict.
Hi, welcome to I'm a Heroin Addict. My name is Jasmine and I am a heroin addict. I'm really excited for tonight's show.
Wait a minute. You're a heroin addict?
Yeah.
I thought you were recovered.
I am recovered.
I know, I'm just kidding.
I am
Sorry
recovered.
about that.
Don't even get me going
It's
on
so
what
good to be
recovered
back.
means.
It's so good to be back. Sitting across from you.
Richard Farrell's back, everyone.
Oh
Richard Farrell's
man, it's
back.
so great. Also known as the old white junkie.
Also
See,
known
they
as
get
Sketchy.
mad at me. They get mad at me all over the place when I say that.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to say junkie anymore. Did you know that? It's like bad to
Politically incorrect.
Politically incorrect.
Yeah.
I like saying, "Hey, I'm a junkie. I earned it, so I can call myself a junkie." Right? I'm sorry. I didn't keep rolling. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'm happy that you're back.
It's great to be back.
I've missed you.
I've missed you too.
For those of you watching and those of you that follow us, thank you for your continued support. For those of you that have just started following us, Mr. Farrell is our founder. You know, Mr. Farrell, he loves it when I call him that.
I love it when you call Mr. Farrell. It makes me.
He's dedicated a lot of time, put a lot of work and a lot of effort and energy into this show and other shows that we have in this state and shows that we have in the state of Massachusetts. And we're working on getting a show up in Baltimore. So
yes.
He does a lot of volunteer work, you know, and all to help the cause, to help the suffering, you know, find peace. So
because our goal, our mission statement in Boston, Baltimore, up in Laconia, with the state rep Phil up there, and is to bring recovery into the living room. Mm-hmm. I started this on the idea. It says, well, you know, the stigma. We're facing this incredible, you know, stigma out there, and how do we break it? Because people sit in their living rooms. Oh, don't say anything about my daughter, my son. Right. Don't tell the neighbors. So what my thing was, hey, let's go, you know. So when I was in LA and I was working as a screenwriter, and my son, I have a 12-year-old here with my wife, and I said, got to do something. All these people dying. Let's jump back in, and what we're going to do is we're going to try and bring recovery right into the living room. Right. And the guest that this young lady have is incredible. Oh yeah, you're one of them. We introduce your guest.
Yeah. So absolutely. So this is Daryl, and I'm really excited, you know, to engage with you and see. Hold on, we have a question. Recovered means, and what is the difference between recovered and cured?
Oh,
they already hit
cured,
us up with
baby.
They already hit us up with a question. Who wants to take it?
Well, first of all, before we get to that question, tell me a little bit more about. Let's hear a little bit about your story before we do that.
Sure. So on the 27th of this month, I'll have 5 years sober,
Fantastic.
which is significant for me.
Yes.
Because I spent a lot of years trying to get recovered.
Right.
I said the word recovered.
Recovered. Right. You're never cured, but you can be recovered. I did start with alcohol. I think my story's not that unique. It started with alcohol. It's the most easily accessible things. It's in everyone's
What
house.
age?
14.
14.
14.
Okay.
I mean, I pretty vividly remember making the decision to drink alcohol because I saw that it made other people happy, and I thought, you know, I just kind of put, you know, A and B together equals happy.
So you're telling me that you weren't happy before you picked up?
I wasn't.
Okay.
I wasn't, and that's my story. And everyone has a different story, but my story, you know, looks a lot like, you know, I was kind of uncomfortable in my own body from an early age. I just had, you know, a lot of really weird social kind of anxiety. You know, I internalized a lot of stuff. I overthought everything, overanalyzed everything, and I never expressed anything. I kept everything in, and maybe that's why I just was like very oversensitive to things. I had a difficult time making friends. We moved when I was young. Had a difficult time making friends, adjusting.
Yeah, sure.
You know, bullied a little bit. You know, my home environment there wasn't a lot of love in my home environment, and you know, I think at a very young age, I just kind of started to try and figure out, what do I need to do to be happy like everyone else seems to be.
Right.
And it did start with alcohol, and went to weed, and went to LSD, and went to ecstasy, and every one of those things, you know, I loved it so much, I did it as much as I could.
Sure.
And
right, we know that.
right. And you know, I didn't get into opiates till I was about 22. And that's just, you know, I'm 43 now, so, you know, 20 years ago, at least where I went to school in Easton, Massachusetts, it wasn't really prevalent. It wasn't like a prevalent thing. Everybody drank, smoked weed, did acid, that type of stuff. And at 22, I was introduced to that, along with a lot of other things. And I didn't really kind of figure out what was going on. But, you know, what I noticed was that the more I kind of fell in love with opiates, the more I fell out of love with everything else, and that turned into a 16-year run with opiates.
That's significant.
It's incredible. So what's the difference between recovered and cured?
So I will never be cured. I know that no matter how long I've been sober for, I've really lost the privilege to touch, you know, drugs and alcohol ever again. You know, knowing specifically how my body reacts to drugs and alcohol, anything, you know, that really I kind of put into my body, and I love the way that it makes me feel. It's like a switch is thrown, and I'm off and running.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a privilege that, you know, maybe is left for the normal folk, but it's a privilege, you know, I abused so much, like it's been taken from me.
So cured. You're cured, right?
I'm recovered.
Recovered.
Recovered means that I no longer suffer from the mental obsession. So I've been in a recovered state of mind since I was 3 months sober. However, the recovered state of mind can be taken from me at any point in time. You said, like, you know, to be cured is a privilege, and so I have to work very hard to remain recovered. And that means, like, I have to do work internally on myself on a daily basis. I have to have connection with other people on a daily basis. I have to be honest with people. I have to be honest where I'm at. For me and myself, like, I have to have a connection with a power greater than myself that I choose to call God. And that's how I remain in a recovered state of mind.
Well, I'm working on a pill called Cured. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We'll take as many as you got.
Looking for guinea pigs?
We're gonna. You know, cured is it's a horrible thing to think that there's anybody that I know that thought they were cured didn't do too well.
I know.
That's the sad thing. Most of them died, you know, when they thought they were cured. They thought they could go dance in a place they shouldn't be dancing, and one more try and bang.
I have to trust the spirit of the universe, and I have to trust that everything happens for a reason, but when I see people being misinformed, I get really upset. And you know, I want to be the savior of everyone and be like, no, like, listen, like, that's actually not the truth. Like, you can't be recovered. You can't casually drink. Like, if you've crossed this line and you're at this point, like, that's not going to happen for you. But the truth is that people have to learn that on their own. I can talk to someone till I'm blue in the face. It doesn't matter until they know it internally and know it's their truth.
Right, and I'll tell you, to your point where you mentioned about, you know, being able to deliver a show like this to people in their living room. You know, when I was first in 2007, I went to detox for the first time. My family sent me away, and I mean, they didn't know what they didn't know. It's like if somebody has some type of health problem, as so it appears, you take them to the hospital. You know, and so they took me to the emergency room, and the emergency room sent me to some detox facility, and the detox facility put me on some type of medications. And for me, you know, what happened with me when I was introduced to those kind of supplement meds was the same thing that happened to me with any other drug, which is, okay, as long as I can feel like this for the rest of my life, I'll be okay. And it just was like, you just plug in another thing for me.
I'm trying to let him finish. So that's right? And that's our problem. That's why kids are dying. That's why we're losing 200 kids a day. Because what you had said, I'm advocating that, and it's tough. It's tough, especially on the Boston show, because you know, there's real political. You know, you like. Nobody will, as far as sponsors, nobody will touch us if we're not open to it. Now, I'm not open. My co-host is a doctor, and she's open to it.
Not
right?
me. Not this co-host.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I just can't believe what you just said. If you were awake, you mean I get to feel like this every day?
Right.
Bring him on your Boston show.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. I left that facility. I was on, Suboxone and a couple other meds for about a month. And I said, I want to actually feel better than this.
Right.
And I just went back to what I was doing before, and which started out a whole other 2-year run of 30s and 80s and everything else that was popular back then.
Right.
I got the honor and a privilege to speak at a conference this weekend, and it was a beautiful experience. And I spoke after a doctor, and to not discredit anything that he said, because I know that the science world is very, very different than the world that we live in. But he had stated that you can't get high off Suboxone, and I couldn't even hold it together, because I was like, excuse me, let me tell you, I used to get high off my Suboxone.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been on national TV on MSNBC in those boxes where they put all these people, all these experts, and I'm down. So there's 6 of us. I'm down in the corner, and this doctor says to the host, right, you cannot get high on Suboxone. And I said, wait a minute.
Right.
I'm going to tell you something.
Then I've wasted 3.5 years snorting my Suboxone.
I said, wait a minute. I just want to tell everybody out there, the audience, right?
Yeah.
I said, how many people in the studio right now? She said, about 40 or 50. If I brought everybody in their tabs right now, they'd all be dancing.
Wrecked.
They'd all be wrecked out of their mind.
Yeah.
Right, doctor? Well, it depends on how. No, doctor, tell the truth. If someone put that on their tongue right now, they'd all be wrecked.
I think in theory, Suboxone and methadone, would work. In theory, the truth is that I'm an addict. I lie. I manipulate.
Right.
I'm not going in some place to try and get well. I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to. The doctor wants to help. They're kind. They're genuine souls. But I'm going in there to play them for a fool. I see it happen every day at work, and I'm just like, oh Lord, someone please help this person.
Well, the thing about Suboxone is, I was in St. Louis last year writing a story on these 7 people who were on the shot, the Vivitrol, and so I did all these interviews, and I interviewed a sales rep, a pharmaceutical that repped Suboxone in that whole area, and she told me that Suboxone, the reason why it's a cash business, is because Suboxone was not made, it was not invented or put to the market to be a maintenance drug. It was meant to go 21 days at the most.
I met an individual a couple days ago that's been on Suboxone for 10 years prescribed.
I believe it.
And I was like, that's sickening. That made me sick to my stomach.
Yeah. It's just, we're handcuffing an entire generation to their addiction.
Why?
Why? For money.
Why do you think?
I think it's the clinical component of things, and really like what you said, I'm not so ignorant or heartless to say that harm reduction, introducing something like a Suboxone, is better than death. I don't want to give people the impression that don't even put these options on the table. What I really want to push is that there's such a better option than being on Suboxone or methadone or any of these other maintenance meds, right? Like for real. And I thought the same thing too. For 6 years, I was in and out of these treatment centers, being told by my clinicians and my contact people, right? You have to go. Here's, in fact, we've made the call for you, right? Here's your Suboxone, doctor. Here's your script for Neurontin. Here's your script for Lamictal or Abilify or Triliptal. Here's what you need. And I thought, like, I'm on this wheel for the rest of my life.
And I'm so broken and vulnerable that, like, I'm following their guidance, and I didn't even know.
Right.
I did not even know. I got so angry this weekend because this poor doctor was doing his job, and he was doing what he believed in, and science told him that this was the way, and I was like, no, like, I was trapped in Suboxone. I was trapped in that suffering. I still hated myself, and no one was telling me, hey, there's this whole abstinence life over here where you're going to find yourself, and it's going to rock, and your life's going to be great. No one.
That's where I'm on. I'm with you on harm reduction. We want to save people's lives.
Right.
But it should be that we talk about, after a certain amount of period, whatever it may be, whether it's a month, 6 months, we talk about abstinence. And that should be our end goal, that we talk about abstinence. Because These are, I mean, Amy told me that her father used to meet the Suboxone doctor at Panera Bread to write checks. You know what I mean? Okay, I'll meet you for an appointment at Panera Bread. He give you a script and, you know, so much for him.
Right.
Write a check for him and so much for the Suboxone.
Anytime that I ever told my psychiatrist, I ever described the symptoms that I was feeling, she would up my dose of Suboxone.
Right.
When the truth is what I needed was no medication, and I needed to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right.
That was the truth.
Yeah.
And do I think that that woman is evil? No.
Right.
I think that she believed it with her entire being she was doing what would help me. She's misinformed.
Right.
See,
Society is misinformed.
Right.
see, I got, and we just buried this kid on Saturday, and it was, what a trip it was. But to see someone in the casket that like basically saved your life. But 30 years ago, this guy was a Marine sniper, Vietnam, real crazy dude. Gut straight. He old school. Shut up, sit down, and listen, because what you know is going to kill you. We can't say that anymore. We can't tell people to go into a meeting, an AA meeting. Can we talk about AA meetings? I forget. We were in trouble. We got in trouble. But what do we call them? 12-step meetings?
No, people can go to AA, absolutely. Check
Okay.
AA meetings out, check NA meetings out.
But we can't talk like that anymore to addicts. All that, we got to be soft. And what do you need? What do you need? It's like, well, you know what you need?
You with your sick mind, tell me what you need.
Yeah, tell me
please,
what you
because
need.
you know.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like what you know
Your brain is
going
so
to kill
messed
you.
up.
What you know is going to kill you. That's what we should be able to tell. What you know is going to kill you.
I feel like we went on a crazy tangent here and took the show hostage, and the show's supposed to be about Daryl.
Okay, sorry. So what does this say? How does an addict advocate for themselves when doctors and clinics are telling us we need these medications? So you can answer this one.
I really think that, you know, awareness, something like this television show, telling people that, look, there is another option, because like you two were just saying, you know, I've sat in numerous psychiatrist's office, psychologist's office, clinician office, people that only know me from the information that I'm giving them, and I'm coming in there basically believing I'm doomed, I'm damaged goods. There is no hope for me. There does not exist life without some substance in my body for me, and they're kind of treating me according to the information that I'm giving them.
They're treating your fucking,
Yeah,
they're treating your
that's right.
symptom,
Right.
not the underlying cause.
Right, and they don't know. They just, I don't even know. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just know something is wrong with me.
But it also, you think you're damaged goods even more.
Right.
Because you got to have a pill not to be damaged.
Right, yeah, they're telling me it's my parents' fault too.
No,
But yeah, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're great.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Uh-huh.
It's completely crazy, and I think we have to find a new way to get to the point of abstinence. And how are we going to do that?
And it needs to be the end goal, right? And like, and we're holding the show hostage with MAT, and that's cool. So like, let's let it be. That's apparently what this show is supposed to be about, you know. But like, let's have an end goal. Like this poor individual that I met the other day, 10 years. 10 years. They've been giving their money, their insurance money. They've been like treating the symptom, and they haven't actually felt relief.
Right.
10 years. They don't even know what it's like to be alive.
Right.
That's unfortunate.
Right.
There needs to be an end goal.
But the reason why there's no end goal is because of money.
Right.
That's one of the things. Listen, I would love to own a
Absolutely.
bunch of businesses where there was no accounts receivable, where everything was cash. I didn't have to pay people to collect my money or send bills and stuff. Methadone, cash, right? I mean, the state might pay for some of that stuff, but they pay, right? You don't have to send people Suboxone, you got to write a check, right? There's not many insurance companies, unless it's new, that are paying for that stuff.
There's a system in place that is dependent upon people not getting out of the system.
Right.
Thank you.
And it is tremendously sad. And
Thank you.
how I recovered was by somebody doing the work before me and then helping me do the work. And so I think like what we really need is like a movement of people that recovered by the 12 steps, right, as laid out in the literature, that is designed to free me from my own bullshit, right, and to show me that life is possible You can have a whole new life for yourself if you're willing to do this work, if you're willing to get uncomfortable, and someone to be there with me saying, I don't really care how you feel. Like, this is the work that you're going to do. You're going to work through those feelings and get over yourself and keep moving forward.
That's right.
I love it, right? So we are so worried about treating the individual and their feelings, and we want to be soft and we want to be gentle, right? Like, why are we so scared to go in and tell them the truth? A, it's driven by money. Right? If I upset that person and they say something bad, then other people aren't going to come. So we're just going to cater them. We're going to coddle their disease. We're going to, this is exactly what's wrong with society. We're not going to tell them the truth that they need to hear. And Lord forbid if you do tell them the truth, they get upset.
Right.
Like, society is so messed up, and there are so many treatment centers that are going about this all wrong. Like, they need to hear these things. They have to sit with it. You're literally co-signing their toe tag. That's what you're doing.
Right.
You're putting someone in a casket because you're worried about their feelings. I have a sick head. Where do your feelings come from? They're produced by your mind.
Right.
You know, it's all a delusion that I live in.
Here's a question for all that jazz. If MAT isn't the solution, then what is? Can you please talk about this other option you are speaking of?
What could it be?
So I feel like we've discussed it a lot in this show. First thing that I believe in is not co-signing someone's BS at all. Right. I work with a lot of women. That's an honor and a privilege. My women will tell you that I'm not over there pampering them. I'm telling them the truth. I tell people the truth. I work the 12 steps. I work the 12 steps every single day of my life. Every single day. I'm here to tell you that I have other women in my life, and I send them inventory every single day. I pray every single day. I get up early in the morning. I meditate every single day.
Who do you pray to?
I pray to a higher power that I call God. I don't know what God is. I'm kind of just like a free spirit. I believe in energy. And if you just keep trying to break things down, like, energy gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and there's still some life force, this phone's alive. You know what I mean? Like, my human eyes can't see the life in this phone and the vibrational frequencies going on in it, but this phone's alive.
Right.
There is some kind of powerful guiding force in that. I believe in being a decent human being. I believe righting my wrongs, because, like, some days I do fall short.
Right.
Some days I'm not a nice person. The difference between me today and the difference between me 2 years ago is I didn't care, or I thought I didn't care. Today I own that. I go to someone, I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, I was really rude to you yesterday. You know what I mean? I own it. I fix it.
Yeah.
I humble myself. I let other people set me straight. I have to.
For me, I don't know about you, but for me, that other thing is getting on my knees in the morning, or walking, or in the shower, or whatever it may be, and say, man, I need some help today to get me through the day. Thank you for all this time you've given me, but I need one more day.
Right.
And that's that's that other thing for me. And I found, just to answer, and you can take it from here, is I found the ones, if you do that one day at a time, the ones add up.
Right.
So they add up to 12 months, they add up to 2 years, they add up 3, and the next thing you know, you got 5 years.
Right.
So I don't know what that other thing is for you.
Right. So it's also a relationship with a higher power.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I can lay it out for you like this. I spent 6 years in and out of clinical environments, the whole time my life getting worse. Me getting worse.
Right.
Fact. 100% fact. I took steps for the first time in 2009, and I did, you know, what probably a lot of other people like myself, cut from the same mold, do, is when I start to feel better, I stop doing the work, and I relapsed. And that turned into, you know, a nice 3-year run where all of the things that had never happened to me and were never going to happen to me, all those things happened to me. Started using needles, lost my job, lost my license indefinitely. I have 3 children, DCF got involved. Like, all of these things that would never happen to me happened. And they happened quickly.
Right.
3 relapses between 2009 and 2013, and it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. Also with a period of Suboxone in there, which, by the way, I was snorting lines of my Suboxone up the microwave in the morning, eating my Johnnies, drinking a 12-pack of Mountain Dew, saying I'm sober.
Right.
But I was miserable and tormented. However, what I was aware of was that the only time throughout the course of my recovery career that I felt any type of relief and happiness was when I was working the 12 steps. So that stuck with me.
Love it.
And I decided to go back again in 2013, and it's worth it to say that the first time I went back in 2013, I only went because my mother offered to pay, and I made a big joke out of it. It was a big waste. I went home. I was high 2 days later, and by August of 2013, things were so bad that I literally begged to go back and take steps. And it was at that point that very quickly, just for a little bit of illustration purposes, I'm living in the Super 8 in Brockton, shooting Dilaudid and huffing dust off and drinking beer, begging to go back to take steps because I knew this is only going to end badly. Come back, and they finally let me come back up. And 2 weeks later, they wanted to have a conversation with me. What's your aftercare plan? And I was like, I went in with this kind of bravado of I don't need your help. And that was my first moment that the light bulb flickered a little bit left, right? My last couple synapses were doing this.
Fired.
Right, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? You just begged to come back up here.
Right.
You have no other options left, and you're acting like you don't need their help.
Right.
And it started to dawn on me, you are so much more sick than you even know you are. And physically sober, I am no better off. Yeah. Absolutely no better off. I might experience a little pink cloud, in there somewhere. I didn't break into any houses today, so it seems like things aren't that bad. But I'm no better off. I'm literally weeks away from getting sick around money, sick around women, sick around you name it, trying to fill that void. Which the only one thing that I have found that has filled that void is a relationship with my higher power. I don't need to be saved from drugs and alcohol. I need to be saved from me.
Love it, man.
I got God bumps.
And that's incredible. That's incredible.
So this show has been so good. A, we're out of time. B, we didn't even have an opportunity to talk about how awesome your life is. So C, you're going to have to come back on as a guest.
Sure.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. I got to tell you, it's been great meeting you. Some of the things you said just hit so home that, is that you need someone to save you from you. That's how I was. It was like at the end of it, at the end of my run, I wasn't even getting high anymore. I was just doing it, getting up every day, just trying to feel normal.
Right.
You never even, it just, it was time to end it. And it just, it came to me. And, we all have that moment of clarity that we hope others will have.
Save me.
Yes. So wrap it up, darling.
Yeah, so it's been a great show. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Richie, I love having you here.
Oh,
I hope
man,
you join
I love
us
it.
more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you everyone for at home for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out, and you can reach out to any of us. And thank you, and we love you.
Thank you very much, my man.
Hi, welcome to the show. I am a heroin addict. My name is Jasmine, and I am a heroin addict. I'm excited for tonight's show. I am excited for our guest, and I am excited that the old white junkie is
baby.
back.
The old white. Wait a minute. Just tell me, did she say she was recovered?
Yes.
Or cured? What was?
Recovered.
Recovered? Oh my God.
Yeah,
I've been away.
I can teach you a thing or two.
I've been away for a while.
It's all right.
Man,
it's
you
okay.
used to be recovering. Now you're recovered.
I've been recovered since
that's
3
true.
months sober.
That's true.
Okay,
That's
I've
true.
been in a recovered state of mind, and
it's
I let the world know that
You
too.
do. You do.
She does.
Man, it's so great seeing you again. It's been like too long. It's crazy, man. It's like you know, we started this show, and you know the history is I started these shows, come back from LA, said I got to do something, and with the whole stigma and people there, I said, you know, everybody's doing it. You got people that are running around opening up recovery places, making a lot of money, you know, and just, you know how that goes,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And I said, you know, I can't really buy into that, so what can I do to help with the stigma? And I said, I know, you know, you got Mr. and Mrs. Smith sitting there and their daughter or son in there, shh, don't tell the name, don't tell. So I said, if we can bring recovery into the living room so that they can see the bringing guests and, you know, with hope and of the journey down Recovery Road. And my first guest canceled last minute for a show. And I called, what's her name? Perry, Chris. And boom, and she got her daughter was traveling back, and she got, boom, the next thing, and after the first show, there was so much energy, and she was so friggin' crazy. I said, you got to be the host. And it's just been like complete madness.
It's true.
It's been
yeah.
complete madness. She's out of her mind.
I know.
Okay.
She's had to deal with me much longer than you.
So,
True.
really?
True. Yeah.
You've known her a long time?
Yep.
Oh my God.
She's seen me in active drug addiction.
Yes.
They're-
I was fooled. I thought she was sober, for sure.
For how long?
We were on our way to a meeting, and she was going to speak for her year. And I was in the back seat, and she was throwing up. We had to keep pulling over so she could throw up. I'm like, she's sober. This is normal.
Yeah, and so did she still go up there and speak?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's all
I'm
right.
not a saint.
No, that's
Oh God. I
That's
don't
all
even use that word.
so. Well, tell me about yourself.
Who are
and
you?
Like, who the hell are you?
Yeah, how did you get on this show?
Well, I'm Nika. I'm a heroin addict.
Where you from? Where you from?
Berlin Gorham area.
Berlin. That's way the hell up there.
You think there's no resources down here, man? There's nothing.
That's
up
over
there.
the other side of the White Mountains,
Yeah.
down in the thing.
That's like past Franconia and Arch.
Yeah, I went there with my son. Plays soccer. We went there to play a team up there. We stayed at a hotel on the main street there,
Yep.
the Knights or something.
TNC.
Yeah.
Royalty.
Yeah,
TNC.
yeah,
Yeah.
We stayed there, and
You lost, didn't you,
No,
the team?
we beat them.
I don't know.
And the parents were like so mad. They pulled one of our kids down. We beat them, and they were like this real good team. Oh, it was crazy. They're like,
Yeah, they're like,
Go
They're like
live
12
with
years
this? What are you
old.
talking about?
you know, they
Horrified.
one of the mothers yelled, so this kid Colby.
I don't
was
know if
running
it was
down.
my mother or not.
He pulled this mother because this kid we won 3-2. They hadn't lost. They were this real, and they were a good team, but we were better, right? And pulled this kid down because he beat him, whipped him down on the ground, and she yelled out, "He deserved it." The mother from behind.
I can't say that wouldn't be me.
I said so, but anyway, so I woke up the next
so
morning.
barbaric. I'm sorry, Mom, if you're watching, but like that's barbaric.
Was that your mom?
Probably.
So
to be honest.
so anyway, make a long story. I go the next morning to the store, get a coffee, and like everybody's driving these four wheelers all
Yep.
over the place.
Yes.
There's like these little kids driving. They're
Yes.
like 6 years old. They're going. They're flipping by me. There's the cops are talking to them. There's no one's got
helmets,
licenses.
no.
It's like what the hell? I thought it
It's
was
another world up there.
It's another world.
That's where she's from.
Oh my God. So is that where you got addicted?
Oh yeah. I mean, growing up there was like party central, ATVs, bonfires.
Wow.
It started off like innocent, you know, definitely not for me. I was 13, blacking out drunk, and that was normal for me, and other people's parents were like, I was the kid that nobody's parents would let them hang out
Yeah,
with.
they said stay away from this.
Yeah. And
I was that kid too, by the way.
And you know, my mom was a single mom of 3 kids, and she worked a lot to provide for us. So she wasn't home. We did what we wanted, you know.
Yeah. So how did you get into opioids?
I mean, the journey started like way before I started even drinking. You know, it was a lot of abuse in the home, and to me as a child, sexually, mentally, physically, emotionally.
Yeah.
There is a huge tie
Big tie.
between people, trauma survivors, and early childhood trauma for people who end up to actually be addicts.
Right.
You know.
Understandably so, you know.
Well, that's a change in our new show when the exit team Nashua is that we don't just deal with addiction. We deal with sexual abuse and we deal with trauma. So
I mean, all of it impacts the brain
all
and
of
our
it.
primary
Yeah.
decision making.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and so because as you said, it's so connected.
Oh,
Sexual abuse
Yeah.
and addiction, trauma and addiction. There's such a
everything that drove me to drink and to drug was from trauma.
yeah.
Between the sexual abuse, the mental, the physical, and then, you know, deaths that happened in my family. Like, it was all traumatic for me, and that's when I really got into opioids. Was my little brother died.
Of an overdose?
No, he was 6 weeks old, and it's like my family was so, it was just always crazy. You okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Frog.
Sorry, it's a frog. Go ahead. What happened to you?
So my brother passed away. He was 6 weeks old, and my father's ex now, she's an alcoholic. And my sister was 2 years old. She was drinking. She was with family members. She took my brother, fell asleep with him, took a Klonopin, and he suffocated.
Oh,
So
That's
not
so heartbreaking for everyone involved.
and it was, you know, and that I didn't understand it then. You know, I didn't understand that alcoholism took my brother and addiction took my brother. I didn't understand that then, you know, and
How could you? Your brain couldn't even wrap your head around that at that age.
and that's when I really got into opiates. I was actually down here in Hooksett in beauty school, and I was introduced to them. And as the minute I knew when I first tried them, I loved them.
yeah.
And then my brother died, and that was my excuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then my grandfather died, and that, you know, he blew up in a fire in his
Wow.
garage, you know.
Holy.
And the relationship I had with him was, he was a very important man in my life, but he was also my abuser. But I loved him, and
Yeah.
I still do, you know. And that was hard. I couldn't even face any of it. And just now, at almost 2 years sober, I'm starting to face the fact that I have anxiety. Like, just like an epiphany recently, I'm like, this is anxiety. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Like, when I was a teenager and my mom, like, I would have these outbursts of rage. I didn't realize it was anxiety.
Right.
Which is like alcoholism.
Yeah.
Right.
Same
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
which is alcoholism.
Right. Right.
You don't need a pill for it.
It's, no.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so, you know, like, mental illness, you need a pill for that, you need a pill for this, and it doesn't help.
So how long you been on Suboxone?
Never.
I'm only kidding.
Never.
I'm just
I never
kidding.
was.
6.5 years on Suboxone. She takes
I
nothing
laugh,
on the
but
weekends.
my mom was on it for 6 years. My brother's ex, she's been on it for 10. All 3 of her
And
children
that
have
is
been
just
born
so-
addicted to it.
You know what? I love them. I love them, and like hopefully someday they want to get off it, and I'll help them.
Where are
But
they?
It makes
Are
me
they
so
here? Or
sick.
are they up in Gorham?
Berlin.
A doctor's gonna keep them on that for that long. Like really.
My mom's finally off it. She's off her Klonopin, but she got on Klonopin when we were, you know, like I was probably 14. She had a bad breakup put on, and she just recently was able to get off of it.
That's
And
amazing.
she's starting to become normal again.
That's amazing.
What's this new thing? The gabapentin.
Oh, that's not new.
It's not new.
It's
but
not
I mean,
new, but people are just finding out. Like,
Yeah.
my brother is in jail. He was in jail. He got out. He's back now. But he's on gabapentin, Seroquel, and Klonopin.
But they're putting everybody. I mean, Klonopin was the big thing back then. But now I hear Gabbies are like going to old people, young people,
I think
Everybody.
they
people
always
addicted.
have. I know.
No, I don't.
I don't
know
remember
for
that.
a long time I would be like, give me some gabapentin, give me some
And
gabapentin.
I learned about it in Florida treatment.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
known about it for a long time. I don't know if maybe
Maybe it
it's
wasn't.
not new news to me. I know that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane to think. But we have a question here, and we're going to give it to you, Nikki.
Oh, jeez.
Do you think addiction is a disease or a choice?
I feel like I'm on like Facebook right now.
You are.
You are. Oh my God. Yes. Heated debate. Hashtag.
Oh, God. Listen.
Remember that? Because you were on our Facebook page. You were holding the sign,
No,
right?
I
Can't save my
Not
life.
getting.
Jenna's.
Jenna.
Oh, Jenna's.
Jenna.
The mean girls that said all those terrible
And I was
things.
trying to. I was just trying to, say some good things about. Hey, we should stop doing it. And like the girl said, hey, he's just trying to get in your her
Oh,
pants.
God. People are
So remember that? It was like-
ignorant.
What the hell are you talking about, man? The Facebook can be crazy.
Facebook is crazy.
I almost like deactivated my account last week because I was going through it like with my brother and family issues, and I'm like, I'm gonna lose my mind over
Yeah.
other people's opinions.
The great. We have a stalker on ours, and boy, it's sad, isn't it? I feel bad, and I pray for her, and I hope that she kept. But it was kind of, she goes on whatever we post. I'll post like these
can't
inspirations.
even with you right now.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? Not funny, I shouldn't say, but she'll put her. She said she's 12 on 90 milligrams a day, sober, 12 months or whatever. Remember that?
I know what you're talking
Remember
about,
that?
Richie.
She's like everything we put. She thinks she's sober. I mean, which is
Right.
good.
Which
But she
is-
puts on how much, how much methadone. You know which one I mean.
I know what you're talking about since you said stalker. I'm just choosing not to
Okay.
engage.
But anyway, I should shut up. So what was the question again?
Oh.
Disease or a choice? It's a disease. I chose, of course, at 13, to drink.
I'm actually going to question that. So you are a trauma survivor.
Well, I say chose because what else? What else was there?
But this is the thing that people don't realize is that such things such as trauma, sexual abuse, and stuff can impact the development of the brain.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
they impact the development of the brain. So I'm here to tell you that some people don't actually consciously make a decision to pick up that drink or drug for their very first time. They're already held hostage by a damaged brain.
Consider me 5 years old at the age of 13 picking up that first drink.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that's how traumatic my upbringing was.
See, people ask me that question all the time, and I stole this from a doctor we had on the show one time. He was like a really far-out psychologist.
I loved him.
I loved him,
Dr.
too.
Ed. I saw him this
Oh, I saw
weekend.
him.
Oh yeah.
I saw him this weekend. I love him.
Great guy.
I want him
So-
back on the show.
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, and I steal his line. Remember where someone did the same thing, asked, and he said, "What does it matter?"
Yeah.
People remember he said that. He said that the
It's
debate. What does it matter? It's like people, opioids bring us to a bad place.
Yeah.
Trying to have an argument whether it's disease or choice, what does it matter? I mean,
pointless.
it's pointless. What we need to do. So, how many times did you get into a detox or a rehab?
Over 10.
Okay, how many times did you OD?
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, right? but the thing that we have to break here is like people like you are inspirational.
Absolutely.
Right? Because she did. I mean, I'm close to a situation right now where this young girl with a baby, right, married this guy who has no idea what addiction is. She struggled for a long time. She went in a year ago. She went into rehab. She went back out. So I got her in a place, and he went in, took all the baby stuff, boom, and he was gonna, basically saying she's no good. She's never gonna get better.
Yeah, I can't.
So how are we gonna change that type of?
Right.
That's the thing what we have to change.
I mean, you can't really blame him though for taking
No, I
a
don't.
child.
It's such a hard situation. So I have two nieces who are in their grandmother's care now.
Yeah.
My brother lost his rights, and I don't really want to bring her up into
No.
but, and at some point, it's like, we tried again with my brother. He just got out recently, and, we got him into treatment, and he got kicked out. He kept passing out. He had to get stitches. Come to find out, he was huffing in rehab, And it's like, at what point, for me, it was like, it's hard. Do I love him? Absolutely. Like, what will I be there? Yes, but as like a normie, someone who doesn't understand addiction or who's never lived it, I can see why it's much easier for them to be like, she's no good.
Right.
He's no good.
Yeah.
And that is hard to break that unless they have lived it, or if it has affected them personally.
Right.
Like it's.
But I think what my point is that I think that it's right. You're right. Like I always say, well, you got to understand your husband. Forget about what he's doing. Work on you. That's what I tell her.
Right.
You've got to be, because you're the one that's sick.
Right.
You don't. He has no idea. He thinks you're never going to pay. He thinks you're a junkie. That type of thing. But what we have to try and people like you guys, there are inspirations that have come out. That's what we have to get to, let these people know that you can do it through abstinence.
Yeah.
You don't need.
In my experience, you're only going to do it through abstinence.
absolutely.
Anything else, I'm just going to get stuck in that vicious cycle over and over and over and over again.
Right.
I've never been on methadone. I've never been on a Suboxone. I've never been on Vivitrol.
I've been on methadone.
Because I knew that it was all or nothing. I didn't want that.
Yeah.
I knew that wasn't a solution, and I didn't want it. I was either going to be running without it, or
Kicking methadone is 10 times worse than kicking heroin.
I can
It's
imagine.
so bad.
It's like
Everything.
it's like your bone marrow's on fire.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
It's
like,
worse.
Suboxone's just
I
as
feel like
bad,
kicking
too.
Suboxone is worse than kicking heroin. But
Is that right? I say I never did Suboxone.
yeah,
so
but it's worse than heroin. I think you just hurt so bad.
it's
But
crazy.
methadone is definitely
Yeah.
worse. for
So
sure.
this is a good question. Can you break down the disease model briefly, please?
8 minutes is not enough time for
Okay.
me to break down a disease model. So I know that addiction is now considered a disorder, substance abuse disorder, and they consider it to be confusion in the brain. So when
I'm confused.
you are, we know, we love you anyways. It's okay. And so when I'm talking about the disease of addiction with people, I always start off with the physical component. People can understand the physical component, they can see the physical component. Something abnormally happens inside an addict or alcoholic's body where that takes over, the physical piece. We can see that people become physically addicted to alcohol, they become physically addicted to heroin. We know that, we can feel it if we're survivors of it, science tells us so.
Right.
And so the disease model essentially has three folds to it. And then I go on and I talk about the mental piece. And so what I do, because I primarily work with other addicts and alcoholics, so I can talk to them, and being crazy because they get it.
Right.
And I'll be like, well, so you're sitting at home, right? Like everyone thinks you're sober, and your head's going, it's okay. You know what? Just call up him. He'll meet you down the street. You can grab one pill. You'll be back in 2 minutes, and no one will know. And no one's even gonna know you're high. No. Right? I'm like, you know what? I can have this drink. My wife's not gonna know. My wife's gonna be gone till Tuesday. I can have one drink now. It's gonna be fine. No. Right? And that crazy banter that goes on in your head over and over and over. That's the mind.
Yeah.
So I have a body that's working against me, and I have a mind that's working against me, and I'm so insane that I don't even realize that I'm insane.
Right.
And to other people, they're like, "What is going on?" And I'm like, "No, dude, it's okay. I'm gonna pull this off. No. No one's gonna know. And it's just Tuesday, and everything will be fine. I'm gonna drink 5 gallons of water. My period's never gonna know."
Right.
And it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
I have no idea. And so then there's a third component to this. And if you are the real deal, you have all 3 folds. And of course, if I had an opportunity to sit down with you, we would spend a lot of time going over this. Because if this is your truth, you probably want to know it.
Right.
Because you're up against something pretty severe here. The third piece is the spiritual factor. So you'll hear people refer to as emotional. You can definitely know where someone's at by their emotional state of being, and it's spiritual. You'll often hear people talking about the spiritual malady, and for me, that's restless, irritable, and discontent. And so when I put the alcohol and drugs down, I'm miserable.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't have that. Take my cell phone from me. Right? Like I'm miserable. I don't have something to distract me from me. And what's going on with me internally is I'm not okay in my own skin. I'm a big ball of energy. So when I'm not okay, everybody around me knows that I'm pacing, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm letting everyone know where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so that's a spiritual factor. And so I believe, and I've been taught by other spiritual advisors, that if we straighten out spiritually, the mind and the body will follow.
I love it.
And so the solution lies within the spirit.
Yeah.
And that's what I do when I work with other women.
Yeah.
We focus on the spirit and what we can do to straighten out spiritually. That's a very quick breakdown of a disease model.
Yeah, I mean that's a great way. You did it in less than 3 minutes, which is amazing.
Thank you.
But so, tell us, what are you doing now?
As far as work?
Yeah, work and in your recovery.
Life. So I'm currently engaged.
What?
Oh, congratulations!
Thanks.
All right.
Getting married next October.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
It's like crazy. It just is. And he's a normie.
See,
He's so understanding. Because I'm crazy. And
he's in recovery. I know.
no, he's normal.
He's a normal person.
That's what. Yeah, it's perfect. Huh?
And yeah, I mean, I've been in relationships with other addicts, and that's just like a. And neither of us were, recovered or even trying to recover.
Right.
So it's like that's a disaster.
Yeah.
And thankfully, like he's the most patient human being I've ever met to deal with me. I'm still writing, and I'm still.
So when you say writing, you are doing 12-step recovery?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Jasmine's been my sponsor.
Oh, nice.
And I just haven't gotten through the work, but for me, it's like I get up every day and I still fight towards that because I know at the end of the day that it is 3 folds.
Yeah.
And that spiritual side is the only thing that's going to save me.
So you're working on yourself every day?
So when you say that, so when I was really, when I lived in the halfway house, I would wake up, I would pray immediately, meditate. I was on this,
you know. on this high, right?
Yeah.
You're on this high.
And now it's like, I have a fiance who doesn't understand it. I don't always wake up on the right side of the bed, so I don't always get right on my knees. But it's like, the only thing I've learned this far is that I can turn my day around at any point in time, and that I know, when I start to go into that dark place. I'm not gonna lie, that trauma has fucked me up.
Oh, I'm sure.
And that's a lot to recover from. And and that's why I get up every day and I continue to do the work. And I'm really slow at it. My sponsor will tell you, my previous sponsors will tell you that I've definitely taken my time. But for me, that's between me and my higher power.
Yeah.
And today I'm okay.
Yeah. One of the reasons you might be taking your time is because it's very painful to go through that door.
It is.
You know, you're going to have to relive trauma. They've found that the memories of trauma are stored in a completely separate place in the brain than regular memories are, and that when they come on, it's as if they're happening again.
Yeah.
And physiologically. So your body reacts as if they were happening again.
Right.
People don't get that.
How cool though when you get through the work, because I will tell you, so I'm still working on trauma, and I have a lot of trauma to work through, but I've worked through a lot of trauma, and literally I noticed just me as a being, my body's looser. I used to always be really tense and I was always so cold.
Right.
But anxiety, and like that's been relieved through working through trauma, and I'm more at peace and I'm more relaxed, and I can vibe better with people because I'm open to that.
Yeah. Oh, trauma is something that haunts people, and my take on this is that people don't get that until they completely deal with that trauma. They're completely free of it.
Right.
It takes a while.
It takes, and it's for nobody else to tell me how long it's going to take.
You got that.
And I have a sponsor. I have a group of women, and I listen to everybody, but mostly I do what's right and what feels right with like my higher power.
That power resides within you, and other people just have their own experience, and your truth is it comes from a power greater than you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I can't believe?
What?
Is that I cannot believe that we only have a minute left, or less than a minute left. And it just seemed like we just started.
I know.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It goes so fast. But to see, you here and to meet you here, it's inspirational. And your story can help others in so much that have had just from the trauma, because there was I wish we had more time to talk about that trauma because that a lot of that happened to me. But
we'll have you back on. We'll do a show on trauma.
Yeah,
let's do it. The whole entire world is suffering from trauma in one way or another. So
it is.
Take us out.
You take it out.
Take us out.
No.
Mika, take us out.
I don't even know how.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Farrell.
Mr. Farrell.
Thank
She loves
you. Everyone watching, thank you. We love you. Thank you for your continued support, and let us know if we can do anything. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you. Amen.